I should have gone first, but I'll go second. So my number 2 guy, and I'll be curious to compare notes with you. And I had some debate about this. And if we don't disagree at 2, we'll certainly disagree at 3. But my number 2 is a pitcher who had a disappointing 2024 season and needs to get right. The Cubs need this guy to contribute in a meaningful way. He was the helium prospect, I want to say, of the 2022 draft cycle. I remember being absolutely shocked that the Cubs took him when they did, because we were locked into like there's 5 guys in this draft and we hope the Twins can get one. And Cade Horton was not one of the names that we were talking about. I really had an injury-plagued 2024, limited to just 34 innings, a 4.18 xFIP, struck out guys at a healthy clip, 28%, walked 9%, which is just fine. But the stuff was down a little bit, and the Cubs are going to need and hope that he gets back to full health. His stuff's back. Shoulder problems are a little bit scary. So Cade Horton was my number 2 guy. I just could not ding him really, given that he missed time due to injury. And even with his stuff being down, his performance in those 34 innings was fine. He is another guy on the cusp of contributing, at the major league level. Who you got at number 2?
I actually had Horton at 2 as well.
Yes, let's go.
And I didn't love it because it's, for me, it's a lot of, well, what have you done for me lately? And he hadn't done much.
Yep.
But I do think the upside is still great when you back up a little bit in a season, and then that season ends up as being a shutdown because of a shoulder. You got to wonder how much that was bothering you. So you have some long-term worry about that, right?
Yep.
But I do think that my dogs are going to bark.
That's okay. They're always welcome, Jeremy.
So when you back up a little bit, you worry about the shoulder, you worry about that long-term. Knowing that he was a two-way guy, you think that there's going to be some bounce back, hopefully, because he hadn't pitched a ton, and then he threw 88 innings in his draft year, and now he's at 34 last year. So you hope that you can build that back up, but I do think the upside is incredible, and so that's why I had him at number 2.
And I think there's a case to be made with Horton, just quickly before we move on, that he's actually more important for 2026 than 2025, right? So if we look at how the Cubs rotation is projected, right, I'm going to make a dangerous assumption, which is that Jed Hoyer is going to go get a really solid additional starter for the top of this rotation. That would put you at Imanaga, Steele, and let's just say Dylan Cease for the sake of argument, right? That's like really, really strong. If you project ahead to 2026, you're going to be losing a few guys from that group, and there's uncertainty around some of the rest. Like you're relying heavily on Matthew Boyd this season, which is something I don't know that I feel super comfortable doing. And so all of that to say, I'm not saying that Horton can't make a significant contribution this year, but I think that long-term kind of planning aspect to it gives the Cubs a permission structure to take their time with him, in addition to the injury troubles he struggled with in 2024. Take your time, get him right. Make sure the stuff is where you want it to be. Make sure the shoulder's healthy. Have him in AAA for as long as he needs to be in AAA. And I think that's even more of an argument for being aggressive and acquiring another guy at the top of your rotation.